Hi there, Loy Machedo speaking to you from loymachedo.com. And who is Loy Machedo? Uh, Today I just want to share with you my a confession as to why have I decided to give up barefoot running, especially in half marathons. Now, just to give you a background, I began my marathon, that is, running journey 3 years ago. And I didn't know anything of running. I didn't know anything of marathon running, and I would still say I still have a lot to learn. I don't know. I just know how to run at a very slow pace. My challenge was both my knees were injured. I had injury in both my knees. I had injury on my lower back, and because I was a bodybuilder and powerlifter, I was carrying a lot of mass. And even worse than that, I didn't have a proper posture of running. So when I put on a pair of shoes and I started to run, I started getting lower back issues. I started getting knee problems, ankle problems. And you need to understand that I didn't even know how to select a good pair of shoes. I just bought shoes that I thought were nice. I didn't know whether I had to leave a gap in the front part of the shoe. How do you test a running shoe? I just bought a shoe. And it was then I kind of saw a guy. He was actually running. He was running with slippers, and I thought maybe, okay, the guy's poor or something. And he was running really at a good pace. And later on, I saw him sit in a super expensive BMW four-wheel drive. I was like, wow, this guy's rich. He's not poor. And then I started having a conversation with him and realized that this guy really knows what he's doing. And I asked him then, why is it that he was running with these sandals? These were the kind of sandals that he was running with. It's called Luna sandals, okay? This is the kind of sandals he was running with, which I purchased, which he gave it to me later as a gift, brand new pair. And for those of you who are interested in Luna sandals, go to lunasandals.com. You can get customized, they custom fit it. They give you a custom fit. It's handcrafted. So he told me that barefoot running is the best form of running. So then I was like, man, I need to try this barefoot running thing. And I started running barefoot. Initially, it was, it was kind of embarrassing because I would run for 100 meters, get a lot of pain and come back. Nobody told me, or rather I was, I didn't ask anyone. I didn't know there was a transition phase to running barefoot. I just started to run barefoot. I ended up putting my legs in buckets of ice. I was in horrible pain. Eventually, my legs got used to it, and then I started. I wouldn't call barefoot running. I would just say I was able to run, able to have a very slow pace, where you can call it's like walking, and I managed to do up to 48 kilometers. Okay, that is not non-stop. Stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. It took me, I think, almost 8 hours to complete 48 kilometers. So this was my journey into barefoot running. But eventually what happened is I realized my speed was not improving. I was not improving. And then the other problem, glass pieces going in. It's not very frequent that glass pieces would go in, but here there are no proper tracks for running. You either run on the road or you run at the side of the pavement. And out of the 3 years, I had 3 episodes where pieces of glass went in. And the third time when it did go in, that was at the Stan Chart full marathon. It went in at the 12th kilometer, and I, like an idiot, went still slow running for another 12 more kilometers. And it was a fine, very thin hairline piece of glass that went into my foot, and it took me nearly 2 hours because it was right at the center of my foot at the back. I couldn't get it out. So after slicing the skin, finally managed to get it out. And that was when I decided no more barefoot running. And that's where I switched over to shoes. But now, I was still not sure whether I was doing the right thing until I finally met a professional trainer. Now, this guy, his name is Jack Sophie Gilbert. This guy, I told him I was doing barefoot running. He listened to whatever I had to say. And then he asked me a question. Okay, fine. If barefoot running is such a concept, why is it that all the top runners in the world are not running barefoot? Why is that in the Olympics? Why is it they are not running barefoot? Why is it that in all the marathon sessions they are not running barefoot? And can you name a barefoot runner who is constantly winning all marathons? And I realized he had something to say there, because barefoot running was a very small community and still is a very small community, and but the majority run with shoes, and then there are different brands of shoes. So I just told him what I knew. I thought shoes companies were taking people for a ride, and the natural way of running is running barefoot because that's how the foot is arched. But later on, through his coaching, what I realized is there are different kinds of shoes for different kinds of people. And if you were born in Africa and you were used to running barefoot right from the day you were born, and you're always running barefoot in the forest, on the streets, everywhere, if you were used to it right from childhood and you have the physique and the structure and the proper weight, not being overweight, barefoot running is okay for you. However, if you are born with shoes and you're not a professional runner, or you're not a runner, or you don't run a walk 24/7, you have a sedentary lifestyle, and you have a normal routine like normal other human beings, you can't think of running barefoot. Obviously, you wear different kinds of shoes. So that's where I realized, okay, fine, maybe I need to look into shoes. And then began my journey to find out which was the proper running shoes. And out of the 4 companies that I've tried Nike, Saucony, Adidas, and Saucony, and which was that, Asics. I would say my favorite shoes, if I had to choose the top 3, it would be, the first one would be Asics, the second one would be Saucony if you're looking at comfort, but Adidas if you're looking at especially the latest Ultra Boost, really comfortable for having a bounce. So these are my top 3 running shoes. Now, what is the advice I'd give to people between barefoot running and running with shoes? Barefoot running, it does correct the way you run. It is good. There are a lot of benefits of barefoot running because it makes your foot actually work, the entire foot. And I would highly recommend for people to go barefoot running, but in places where you can. And no, you'd not get poked by glass pieces or nails frequently. In 3 years, I got only pierced with glass pieces 3 times. That's all. But if you have never done barefoot running, it would be a very big effort. It takes a little getting used to. However, with shoes, you can just run. The only challenge with shoes is make sure that you take the right shoe, because it depends how your foot is placed. Either it goes too much on the outside or too much on the inside. So make sure you have a shoe that takes care of your foot, your ankle. It should be a proper fit. When you take a shoe, make sure that you run around in the store to make sure that you feel comfortable. The comfort factor is very, very important. Never take a shoe that is too tight or too loose. So what I would say is, if you are trying barefoot running, try barefoot running. It always is good because it corrects the way you run. But you running at a very fast pace or running full sprint barefoot, your technique should be very good. You cannot afford to be really fat and heavy. Otherwise, it's putting a lot of stress on your legs, especially your metatarsals, that is the bones that connect to the toes. Yes, it does help you improve your running form. But then once you need a mix between shoes and barefoot running. And for those of you who love barefoot running and feel that you cannot live without it, this is a very good option, the Luna sandals, because what it does, it's as closest to barefoot running as you can possibly be. So Luna sandals are really a very good bet. Given a fact that I've tried barefoot running, I've tried running with Luna sandals and with shoes, I would say today I'm glad I tried all 3. Barefoot running is good. You need to get back to nature sometimes, but given a choice between all the 3, I would say practice walking as much as possible barefoot, in the house, everywhere else. You go outside, try Luna sandals, but where sports is concerned, you need to get used to a shoe, and you need to make sure the shoe is comfortable for you. So Loy from LoyMachedo.com sharing with you the the differences between barefoot running and running with shoes, and the fact why I left barefoot running completely, because you can't run at a very fast speed, given the fact, especially if you're overweight. In my case, my bones and my muscles, because I was a powerlifter, a bodybuilder, I'm pretty heavy. I'm at 95 kilos, so I can't afford to run sprinting barefoot, and especially with the fact of, there's always a risk of a glass piece or something just entering your leg. So I'm pretty comfortable with shoes, and between the shoes, Asics is my number 1 choice. Number 2 is closely between Adidas and Saucony. So Loy from LoyMachedo.com, and who's LoyMachedo.com, sharing with you his shoes versus his barefoot running experience. Let me know what you think. Love to hear from you. Goodbye for now.